Margot was sharing with her interviewer earlier that there is a connection between her upcoming film Birds of Prey and something she had worked on in the past. The film was initially shot under the title Fox Force 5. She asked the interviewer if they remembered Fox Force 5, which was referenced in Pulp Fiction. Margot explained how the iconic scene, where Uma Thurman and John Travolta share a $5 milkshake, was based on a pilot Uma had done, and Quentin Tarantino later turned that into dialogue for the film. She continued by explaining how Birds of Prey also features 5 prominent women, much like Fox Force 5. The team always tries to include little references to Tarantino moments that they admire, and it felt fitting to use the title as a nod to that spirit. Margot even asked Quentin Tarantino if they could use the working title Fox Force 5, and he found it amusing, noting that it did capture a bit of the anarchic, subversive energy he's known for. For those of you who have already subscribed over the last couple of months, thank you guys so much. We've been gaining subscribers here at Maxiverse Twist, and if you have not already, I also noticed that 99.6% is watching in this channel have not yet subscribed already. I would just kindly invite you to do so. It's like the #1 thing you can do to support me as a content creator in the channel. And of course, you gotta be subbed to see more latest updated videos. The interviewer also brought up the fact that this project marks the only comic book movie Margot has worked on. They congratulated her for her role as the Vanisher in Deadpool 2, which Margot appreciated. She reflected on how much fun she had on the set and how Ryan Reynolds came up with her character's part. When asked if she felt done with comic book movies, Margot replied that she felt she had taken it as far as she could go. She had reached a sort of mic drop moment with her performance. Amid the conversation, Margot joked about Leo still staying in character, teasing that he might carry his character for a year after filming. The interviewer laughed, acknowledging that she was still in character herself as the discussion shifted back to other topics. What is the connection between Birds of Prey and Pulp Fiction? The connection between Birds of Prey, 2020, and Pulp Fiction, 1994, primarily comes through Margo Robbie, who plays Harley Quinn in Birds of Prey. Robbie's performance in Pulp Fiction is a key connection. She actually played a small role in Pulp Fiction as a girl at the dance contest. This is likely a case of thematic overlap, as both movies were heavily inspired by a blend of action, crime, and dark comedy, and share some stylistic similarities. Both films were praised for their bold use of non-linear storytelling, their quirky and memorable characters, and their edgy approach to violence and humor. So, while the connection between the two movies might not be obvious on the surface, the shared thematic and stylistic DNA does create an interesting link between Birds of Prey and Pulp Fiction. Why was the working title for Birds of Prey Fox Force 5? The working title for Birds of Prey was Fox Force 5, as a reference to a scene in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. In the film, Uma Thurman's character, Mia Wallace, mentions a fictional TV pilot called Fox Force 5 that she had been working on, which was about a group of 5 women with unique skills. This concept of 5 women, each with a specific skill, was seen as a fitting and fun nod for the movie's all-female team of heroes in Birds of Prey. Essentially, the title was a playful homage to Pulp Fiction, reflecting the idea of a group of strong, skilled women coming together, even though the characters and the plot were quite different. Eventually, the title was changed to Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, to better reflect the movie's focus on Harley Quinn and her interactions with the other characters. What Tarantino references did Margot Robbie and her team try to incorporate into Birds of Prey? In Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie and her team incorporated a few stylistic elements inspired by Quentin Tarantino's films, blending them with the movie's own unique style. Some key references to Tarantino's work include non-linear storytelling. Like Tarantino's Pulp Fiction, Birds of Prey utilizes a non-linear narrative. The movie jumps back and forth between events, with Harley Quinn herself narrating parts of the story, sometimes breaking the fourth wall. This chaotic structure helps build tension and gives the film a quirky, fun vibe similar to Tarantino's work. Colorful, exaggerated violence. Birds of Prey features stylized violence, which is a hallmark of many Tarantino films. The action scenes are choreographed in a way that's playful yet brutal, echoing the over-the-top violence seen in films like Kill Bill or Inglourious Basterds. For example, Harley uses a baseball bat in a manner reminiscent of Tarantino's stylized combat, mixing humor with bloodshed, female empowerment, and strong, quirky characters. Tarantino is known for his strong, often unconventional female characters, like the bride in Kill Bill or Jackie Brown, and Birds of Prey echoes that in its ensemble of fierce, complex women. Harley Quinn is both funny and dangerous, much like characters from Tarantino's films, and the movie gives each of its female leads space to shine in their own chaotic way. Pop culture references and irreverent humor. Tarantino's films are known for their pop culture-heavy dialogue, and Birds of Prey follows suit with its own irreverent humor, random references, and playful tone. Harley Quinn's offbeat narration, witty one-liners, and random tangents in the voiceover are in the spirit of Tarantino's sharp, often eccentric dialogue. Soundtrack and music choices. The soundtrack of Birds of Prey is full of energetic feminist anthems, which shares some kinship with the way Tarantino uses music in his films to elevate the mood or amplify the tension. While Tarantino often uses music to set a scene or even create a sense of irony, think of the Kill Bill soundtrack, Birds of Prey uses its music to create a rebellious, fun atmosphere that resonates with Tarantino's bold music choices. The film isn't a direct homage to Tarantino, but these stylistic nods show how Robbie and her team were influenced by his approach to action, character, and tone, while making Birds of Prey feel fresh and unique. How did Quentin Tarantino react to the use of the title Fox Force 5? Quentin Tarantino's reaction to the use of the title Fox Force 5 is tied to its connection to Pulp Fiction. In Pulp Fiction, 1994, Uma Thurman's character, Mia Wallace, mentions the title Fox Force 5 when she's explaining a failed TV show idea she once worked on. This fictional show is about a team of 5 women who each have a unique skill set. The title Fox Force 5 became iconic in popular culture due to its association with Pulp Fiction. However, it's important to note that the title itself wasn't originally something Tarantino intended to be a huge part of the larger story. It was more of an amusing anecdote to add depth to Mia's character. Tarantino was not opposed to the concept, but it wasn't a significant plot point. Interestingly, Tarantino later referenced Fox Force 5 more prominently when he worked on Kill Bill, 2003, where Uma Thurman's character, the bride, is a part of a similar female assassin group. The connection was subtle, but fans noticed the thematic link to Fox Force 5. In interviews, Tarantino has expressed a fondness for the idea, but his reaction to its use was more about how it added to the world of Pulp Fiction, rather than something that needed a larger focus. It's a fun part of Tarantino's universe, but not necessarily one that dictated his creative direction for future projects. What role did Margot Robbie play in Deadpool 2, and what was her experience like working on it? Margot Robbie did not appear in Deadpool 2. However, there has often been confusion regarding her involvement due to her high-profile role as Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad films, which, like Deadpool 2, also belongs to the comic book movie genre. To clarify, Deadpool 2 starred Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, with other key performances by Josh Brolin, Cable, Zazie Beetz Domino, and Morena Baccarin Vanessa. Margot Robbie, on the other hand, is best known for portraying Harley Quinn in films such as Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, and The Suicide Squad. Is Margot Robbie done with comic book movies after her role in Deadpool 2? Margot Robbie played Harley Quinn in the DC Extended Universe DCEU, with notable roles in Suicide Squad 2016, Birds of Prey 2020, and The Suicide Squad 2021, but she did not appear in Deadpool 2 2018. Deadpool 2 starred Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and had a different set of characters from the X-Men universe. As for whether Margot Robbie is done with comic book movies, there hasn't been an official statement suggesting that she's finished with the genre. Her portrayal of Harley Quinn has been very popular, and while she has said that she's open to future roles, her involvement might depend on the direction of the character and her personal career choices. She has also expressed interest in pursuing a range of roles outside of comic book movies, focusing on other types of films, like drama and biographical projects. As of now, there's no indication that she's done with comic book roles, but it may depend on future DC or other superhero movie opportunities. What was the significance of Margot's character in Deadpool 2 as the Vanisher? In Deadpool 2, Margot's character, the Vanisher, plays a surprising and humorous role. The Vanisher is a member of the X-Force team, which Deadpool assembles to rescue Russell, the young mutant. Initially, the Vanisher is a mysterious figure, as he's invisible, and his powers are not revealed until later in the movie. The real significance of Margot's character comes when she is unmasked in a comedic and shocking moment. After a chaotic sequence during the X-Force mission, the Vanisher becomes visible, revealing that it's actually Brad Pitt in the role. This unexpected cameo is a fun and humorous surprise for the audience, adding to the film's irreverent tone. Although the Vanisher's screen time is brief, the moment highlights Deadpool 2's unique blend of satire and surprise, using celebrity cameos and unexpected twists to keep the audience on their toes. Margot's role as the Vanisher, while small, plays into the film's running theme of unpredictability and humor, with her identity as the Vanisher being a perfect example of the film's quirky nature. How did Ryan Reynolds contribute to Margot's character in Deadpool 2? Ryan Reynolds contributed significantly to the development of Margot's character, Domino, in Deadpool 2. Although Margot Robbie did not play the role, Deadpool 2 starred Zazie Beetz as Domino. Reynolds, as the film's star and producer, was deeply involved in the creative process. Reynolds was instrumental in ensuring that the character of Domino, portrayed by Zazie Beetz, was more than just a typical superhero. He fought for the character to be portrayed as a strong, confident, and skilled fighter, rather than a secondary or stereotypical role. Reynolds also had a hand in shaping her comedic dynamic with Deadpool, emphasizing the lighthearted banter and chemistry between the two characters. As a producer, Reynolds advocated for diversity and representation, ensuring that Margot's character was portrayed as independent and powerful, contributing to her becoming one of the standout characters in Deadpool 2. Reynolds' influence on the film's tone and approach to characters undoubtedly helped make Domino one of the fan-favorite elements of the sequel. What does Margot think about the unique spirit and anarchic energy in Quentin Tarantino's films? Margot, as a character, would probably have a unique take on Quentin Tarantino's films, especially if we consider her personality to be someone who appreciates bold and unconventional expressions of art. She might be drawn to the anarchic energy and the unique spirit of Tarantino's films because they often break traditional filmmaking rules, defy expectations, and blend genres in unexpected ways. She might admire how Tarantino's films challenge authority and societal norms through rebellious characters, unconventional storytelling, and often dark humor. The way Tarantino mixes intense violence with witty dialogue could be something Margot would appreciate for its audacity and creativity. If Margot were speaking about this, she might say something like, "Tarantino's films are like a wild, untamed beast. There's no holding back, no rules, just pure expression. It's messy, it's chaotic, and yet somehow it's all in perfect harmony." Of course, her interpretation would likely focus on the feeling of freedom and nonconformity that comes with watching his films, things that defy any sense of order and revel in their own anarchic beauty. How does Margot Robbie balance staying in character after filming ends, as seen with her comments about Leo? Margot Robbie has spoken in the past about how she stays connected to her characters, even after filming ends. In her comments about Leonardo DiCaprio, particularly in their work together on The Wolf of Wall Street, she mentioned how difficult it can be to leave a character behind after pouring so much energy into a role. The bond between actors, especially when they're working on emotionally intense projects, can make it hard to fully detach. Robbie has also mentioned how she doesn't fully shut off from a character, especially when working on complex or deeply emotional roles. She tends to keep bits of her character's mindset or mannerisms lingering, which can affect her in her personal life to some extent. However, Robbie has learned ways to gradually transition back into herself, often by creating distance from the character and the film once it's done, such as through time off or reconnecting with her regular routine. This experience is common for many actors. Staying in character, especially after a long shoot, can be challenging. It's part of the emotional investment they put into the role, but they also need to find ways to return to themselves once the project concludes. Robbie's relationship with DiCaprio, which she describes as bizarrely close, is likely a result of the intense working environment they shared. And even though they both eventually let go of their roles, that bond can still feel very real and alive even after the cameras stop rolling. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe for more exciting Maxiverse twist content.